Hello and welcome to Julia's Stitch Club. I'm in my sewing room, and what I'm going to be doing is just basically talking to myself in my sewing room, and if you want to join in, then that's absolutely lovely. I'd be delighted to have you. I'm looking at Christmas sewing at the moment, and one of the most popular quilts that I have done, certainly in my family, not so much with my daughter but more with the grandchildren, was this reindeer one that I did a while ago. It's still got most of its bells. The idea was I thought they were going to come off, and they are gradually, so I'll replace them with hooves. There will still be some bells on there though, because it's Christmas. And I wanted to remake this. I've only done 2 Christmas quilts for them so far, and there are 3 children, so that's not working. So I need a third one, and this was such a quick make. Disappearing 9 patch in the middle, applique borders, and then another border. So I had a piece of this rather fabulous stuff, which I thought would make a lovely outside border. Don't need to do anything else with it because it's just so pretty. So I am working on a slightly different, instead of reindeer, in my Facebook group, which is Sewing Box Somerset group, because it's a group you can then put files on it, and you'll find this file. It's some angel bunting I did a long time ago. So if you want to make the quilt as we go along, then go on there and download, print that out, and that will give you the appliques. So this is where I'm going with this one. And hang on, let me find some of the angels that I've actually already done. So look, this is how it's going so far. Again, I've done that disappearing 9 patch, but what I've done this time is I've gone a bit scrappier because I didn't really want to buy anything if I could possibly help it. So I've been going through my stash. So what I wanted to do was show you how to go about that disappearing 9 patch. What I've done, as I normally do with a quilt, is I've just done a little diagram. And the disappearing 9 patch is a fantastic block. It's so easy to make the main blocks. We're going to make 9 blocks, and then you cut them up and sew them back together. That's what we do in patchwork. We literally take fabric, don't we, cut it up, sew it back together. That's what floats our boat. That's absolutely fine. We're happy, just leave us be. So I've done my kind of design there, and then worked out how to go about the sort of scrappy design. So I'm going to show you how to put things together. I will also put in the files a basic cutting guide, and it is a basic cutting guide. This is not a full-on quilt pattern. This is a freebie. I'm just taking you along with me on my journey. I'm just winging it, boom boom, for the angel quilt. So if you want to join in, feel free. If you just want to watch for some ideas, absolutely great. If you want to ask any questions, comments, etc., pop them down below and I'll get back to you. So why don't I show you how to go about that disappearing 9 patch. So let's get all this out of the way. I'm about to put together is obviously made from 9 patches, and these are all 4.5 inch squares. So sometimes you might get an actual you can get charm packs and things, and if you've got a charm pack, very often you'll get 2 of each color. It might be a complete mix of fabrics within that charm pack. So what I've done here is I have used, I've kept these fabrics the same, and I've kept these fabrics the same. Number one, because I had most of these, so I had enough that I knew I was going to get the requisite 18, because I've got 9 blocks, so I'm going to need 18 of this. 18 of this, 9 of that center one, and then what I've done is I also had enough of this, so I did 18 of those, but I only had a small amount of this, so I've literally done 4 of these, so I've got 2 blocks that are exactly the same as that. So what I did was basically used up scraps to make, hang on, where's the, oh, there it is. So I've got 2 that look like this, okay, and I've got 2 that look like this. So it's this one that's changed, but you can see all of these remain the same. If I hadn't had enough of this one, I could have also kept those, used more scraps and done 2 the same in that block. So I've got 2 the same as that, and then I've got 2 the same as that. Okay, that gives me 8 blocks, but as I said, I needed 9. So what I've done, because this is the odd man out, I've actually used this. This was actually left out. I made a dress for my granddaughter, oh gosh, about 10 years ago for Christmas, and this is the dress, and I never got rid of the dress because I loved this fabric. So this is going to be a quilt for her. I think there's still, it's been washed, but I have a feeling there are these occasional gravy stains on here, which is probably from a Christmas dinner, but you know what, I'm happy with that because she was the one that made the gravy stains, so that's fine. But this one here is the odd one out, I suppose. But the key with quilts I find that are supposed to be you know, scrappy, is that actually you do need to be quite organised, or they will look a bit odd, and very often it's about balance. So I always find that if you're doing a scrappy quilt, do 2 blocks that are the same of each, and then you've got always this sort of balance as you put them together, rather than making each one completely random or odd. So once you've actually got your blocks together, and as I say, I've sewn them together in rows here, what I've also made sure of is that if it's directional, I'm keeping things in the same direction. Things like this and this are great because there is no direction, but this, there's a direction, this, there's a direction. There was another one, yeah, these little trees, also there's a direction. So I've tried to keep them the same so that when they get cut up, as I said, I'm going to have matching. So I've got equal amounts as I put them together to make the main quilt. So first off, I stitch them together in 3s, and then I will stitch them together and then flip them so that I then get to this point. So that is your 9 patch. Now what then happens within that 9 patch, and I'm going to need my bigger ruler, so hang on a sec, let's just grab it. Oops. So I've now stitched those all together with a 1/4 inch seam. Let's see how accurate my 1/4 inches are. Oh, not bad. So I've now got a 12.5 finished block. Okay, so what I find quite useful within this process is if I then, can you see there's a little bit extra there? I'm now going to just nick that off just to get myself to a nice perfect, the rest were pretty straight, they were pretty good actually. Get myself to that 12.5 inches. Now I'm going to cut through the center because it's 12.5. That means I'm going to do 6 1/4. Okay, so I'm going from the center, 6 1/4 here, and that's my first cut. Okay, and then I can flip it, and I'm going to do 6.25 on this one as well. So you end up with these. And this is the exciting bit, I think, about this block and other blocks like it, to be honest. I like a block where you can make a nice easy block that comes together nice and quick, and then cut it up and it turns it into something a bit more exciting. So now we've got that cut up, what we can start to do is turn it. So we can turn it lots of any way you like, frankly, so that you can get a run sometimes of one particular colour. And it's these little pops here that are always the key. And then you sew them back together. As I say, there are different ways of doing it. So I could turn it so that I have all of these on the outside edge. So if I'd chosen two different colours for the top and bottom of the centre there, these would be two different colours. I think you can kind of see where we're at with this, and I think what's useful is to draw it out and maybe even put it onto paper, because if I'd changed those blocks, so I had two different ones, I would have that. But I think it's good to play with it. Just do one block and then play with it and see what you think and see how you like it. So we could do it like that. So we get a run of these ones, because if we then did each one the same, this would be the one that then runs through. Because if I take it over to the next page, this is how I've put them together. So I've actually put them together like so, so that these are all at the bottom. Is that right? Oh no, on the next, yeah, on the next row. I've done it like that. That's it. Okay, so that's how I've put them together, and I've drawn it out. So I think once you've got all your blocks done, then you just lay them out and you can shift them around until you actually like it. And what you'll start to see is that you will get these designs coming through, and it's once you're happy with that design, then put them together and you'll think, yep, that's it, and you know how you're gonna go about it. Right, so up until that point, I'm just gonna stack. Those are my ones that are going to be the oddsies, and all of my other ones are going to be the same as this. Okay, so I'm only going to have 8 like so, and then I'm going to have 18 like this, plus the others that on that last, where is it, that last one, where they're all going to look like that. And going back to my design, which is somewhere in here, I've lost the page already, hang on, there we go. I put those in each corner, and this is what I mean about balancing it up, so that when you look at it, nothing is kind of flagging itself to you. If it's shouting at you when you're making it, it's going to shout at you even more when it's actually made. So deal with it before it gets to that point. So I'm going to carry on and cut all of my pieces, do my layout, and then come back. So apologies for the rug, which I know is a bit fussy, but I'm going to have to move so much furniture to roll that up. So I'm sorry, not prepared to do that today. So what I've got here is I have got now 4 piles where as you can see, I've made sure they're all the same, i.e. these three are in the same place. Okay, so I have got, if I put them in order, I've got 2 lots where the red, green, cream, and then 2 lots where it's cream, green, red, look, and cream, green, red. Some of them have got the scrap patterns on, and these 2 piles here, which are the bigger piles, are the same. This pile is slightly smaller. Like I said, chances are you're going to confuse something or get something slightly awry. Does not matter. As long as there are even, I think when you're doing this sort of quilt, I will do it in 2 halves. So I'm going to split these piles into 2, and I'm going to do a layout with one of those piles, and then I'm going to mirror that layout with the other pile, and that way I know that I've got the match looking even. So it doesn't really matter what's going on here. I know that I'm going to have an even amount, and I'm going to do half, and then I'm going to mirror it to do the other half. So if something's in that corner on the first one, on the second half it's going to be down in this corner. I'm hoping that makes sense. When I've got it together, I'll kind of show you. So I've got 2 piles exactly the same in each, and now I'm going to do just 1 pile to make the top half of my center block. The reason it's called a disappearing 9 patch, I'm pretty convinced of this, is because between here, where they're all laid out as I wanted them laid out, and here under my machine, something magically happens. So I can assure you, 3 times my friend here has been out. You can see where it's all sort of evenly placed, can't you? And the corners, that corner there is the opposite of this corner down here. And this is what I mean about just making sure that it all works and looks good. So I'm going to sew those together, and then that's the centre of the quilt done.